Right now we are under attack under sneaky and insidious matters in which our justice system, let alone most of our law enforcement, is neglectful to. Our drug war is not a matter of just criminal activity, but of our leaders' corruption to use the justice system as a tax system within the means of criminalizing victims of drug abuse through the drugs they push through the system. The war on drugs is anything but what it claims to be, but more rather a means of fraudulence in which our government is responsible for, by not only having our military guard the drugs, but also ship it into the USA, in which due to poverty, drug dealers, like any form of criminal activity, is achieved, let alone made, and in which on all sides there are just victims of a corrupt system desperate to tax and get paid through others' suffering, as even hard-earned working taxpayers suffer a hard blow of such corruption. Instead of victims of drug abuse ordered to end going into rehab, taxpayers' money are spent on criminalizing victims of drug abuse through taxpayers' money, as the rich and the oppressing of law enforcement get paid through a quota system through each arrest or ticket made. This is not a lie, people. The war on drugs is a racket through the government, passed down to law enforcement and the justice system, in which makes monsters out of victims' expense at all sides, and it must be stopped. And of course, people may think, why would this concern me? It should. Would you stand idly by while your sons and daughters or family members and friends are addicted to a harmful and addictive drug and say that you did the right thing? Can you idly stand by as a victim of a corrupt system criminalizes a victim because of their inability to know the rights from wrongs due to their addictions, for whatever reasons that may be, in which such drug addictions is not a crime but a cry for help, in which rehab is more needed by victims than wanted by a corrupt system which makes money off of victims' pain and suffering. Right now is not the time to war on something that the corruption of others, in which money was a corrupt means to break the system into being what it is. It is a means of corruption in which our leaders created in a corrupt means, in which victims are criminalized and used as a taxable economic means at the expense of victims and people under poverty, who are forced to victimize their victims under the biggest drug cartels of them all, which is that of our government, rather than those in which victims are made by criminals that our government produced, in which our corrupt system also complies and follows, whether they know the wrongs of such heinous actions of our government or not, in which even the law enforcement system is driven through corruption under a quota system, making monsters of our police, in which under the Constitution is illegally and unconstitutionally being militarized as we speak. This is not a matter of the people being criminals, as it is clear who the real criminals actually are, in which turns a system of law and order into a monstrous scandal of baiting and switching, but of a system that is supposed to be for the people, by the people, in which is corrupt by the means to victimize innocent victims of the government crimes for pay and taxation. Such should not be allowed nor accepted. No justice for our victims, no peace for the criminal governments. I ask out of great concern through the truth I speak, which side are you on? The monsters or the creators, in which created the monster, in which the monster has no say in his creation? You decide. I do not want you to think like me, but I do ask that out of need and concern for humanity, that you think the wolves are already at all of you, and most of you are asleep, are too asleep to realize it. It is time to awaken and be people rather than sheeple of a corrupt system. No justice, no peace.